are going too far to go back. Any of y'all come to that conclusion that you have come too far to turn back now? And if you did, what would you have to turn back to? That's the eye opener. If you turn back now, what would you have to turn back to? You know? And anybody who got their mind made up already know the answer to that question. But for those that still playing with it, and all you've been through and all you got through to be where you are today, even if it ain't all of what you envision or all of where you envision yourself at in this thing we call life, if you turn back now, what would you have to turn back to? So ain't you glad, regardless of what you've been through, that you got through it and you gained some knowledge, some wisdom, some awareness about yourself from it? You see, because they say, Psalm 23 say, we walk through the shadows of death. You hear me? But they don't tell us it's to resurrect ourselves. We walk through the shadow of the death and shall fear no evil. But it's the shadows, it's the shadow aspect of ourselves that become the biggest evil to most of us instead of becoming, our greatest friend. You heard? So we leave it behind, Also known as the inner child, depending on, or it could be the golden child, depending on where you at with it in your healing process. You hear me? But you ain't got to stay the same, or you don't have to stay used to what you used to. And that's a choice that we all gonna have to make. It's a choice that I made. I could have chose to stay used to what I was used to and kept getting what it was gonna give me. You hear me? And so ain't the only one who able to say it feel good to be better than I never been. You hear me? And that's what change and transformation all about. Being better than you never been. You ain't got to stay used to what you've been used to because you used to it. That's a choice. You hear me? It's about how we make up our mind through the process. Not always what has affected our mind through the process, but how we make up our mind through the process. If you don't listen, you're going to miss it. So we got a choice each and every day, because some of us don't been programmed to cycles, and a lot of those cycles wasn't healthy. So a lot of us, where it apply, are repeating negative cycles. You see, and you got to tell yourself something different to do something different, and then you got to learn how to feel different about what you already experienced to be able to do that. If you don't listen, you're gonna miss it. You hear me? So this is a time to be making up our mind, about how we gonna respond and or react or do nothing at all when certain things happen. It's a choice to keep catching negative feelings every time something uncomfortable or every time something unbefitting pop up, in our quote unquote reality of experience. And uncomfortability has to occur. There always got to be a contrast. And we talk about duality, we talk about polarity, we talk about harmony, we talk about balance. Well, in order for those things to exist, one thing to it, or in order for those things to exist, one thing has to exist, and something has to be in contrast or contradiction or opposition to that thing in order for a balance or integration to be occurred in the first place. Somebody walk with me. So we have a choice. Uncomfortability occurs for us. It happens for us, not to us. So it gives us an opportunity to examine some things, to examine ourselves according to the things that must be examined. You hear me? It's not happening to us. It's occurring for us. And it's a few of us who don't come to terms with that through this process of life. It You know, I understand the programming and I understand the need to reprogram the programming, but it's a few of us who have to come to terms with whatever happening is happening for us and not to us. And the few that do also know the opportunity that it gives us to change ourselves in the midst of all that happens. You hear me? Regardless of the situation, circumstance, or occurrence that we think is impacting and or affecting us. These situations and these circumstances happen for a reason. Earth is the school, you know, life is the principle. You hear me? Because we don't dictate how we come in this thing called life, and we don't dictate at what hour, second or minute we gonna leave it. You hear me? So the opportunity is now. The experiences is showing us how to act and or conduct ourselves according to whatever may be the experience. And the beauty about it is because we expect so much out of life. When life allowed us an opportunity, I'm gonna say it again. We expect so much out of the life that we've been given, not even appreciative of the opportunity that life don't gave us by being here, by incarnating here in this experience to learn some valuable lessons, you know, in order to expand, in order to ascend, that we would have never had without this physical embodiment experience. You hear me? And then sometimes we judge it harshly because we judge ourselves harshly. Sometimes we don't judge it enough. You hear me? Because we don't judge ourselves enough. You know, sometimes we discredit it because we don't give ourselves enough credit. You hear me? Sometimes we misuse it because we misuse ourselves. You hear me? Sometimes we underthink it because we ain't thinking enough. You hear me? And sometimes we think we overthinking when we can never overthink. You hear me? That's what we came here to do. Imagine. You heard? So this experience could have never been had without this experience. You hear me? Otherwise, spirituality and connecting with spirits, connecting with the angelic realm, connecting with the realm of divine mind or divine source or whatever you know it as, wouldn't be so popular right now. You hear me? Good, bad, or indifferent. Because it's not always about how we feel about what's occurring, you know. I want to stress, it's not always about how we feel. Not that our feelings don't matter now. Our feelings matter. Our feelings is a navigator and an indicator. You hear me? According to the experience being had. But when adversity strike and how adversity strike, how we react, how we respond, and if we react and respond at all, hold way more merit, hold way more value, hold way more balance in how things proceed after the moment anything happens. You hear me? But we gotta have our mind made up where we want to be at, what side of it we want to be on. You hear me? We multi-dimensional beings. So we gotta get in multi-dimensional places when things happen on the realm of 3D. We gotta get beyond the realm of sometimes that things is happening and look at it start chopping it up from different points of views. You know, I walk through my own mind with my sword out all the time. You hear me? All the time. I walk through my own mind with my sword out. So you know so you know it's out when I'm coming into contact with other beings looking like you and me, you know, disguised in fleshly form. You hear me? Those that know. Cause all energy ain't good energy. You hear me? And I speak about myself when I say that, because I wasn't always in the highest aspect and best version of self that I'm in today. You hear me? We all got a backstory. You heard? But when adversity strikes, it's more about what is being shown. What are we meant to learn from it? You know, and we go through all different kind of adversities. We could check off a million things, you know, in the course of going through adversity, in the course of feeling challenged, like life is a challenge, in the course of going through trials and tribulations and tests and, you know, different little things that we experience from a small to a large scale on a day-to-day, moment-to-moment basis. Things is always happening. Nothing is being still. You hear me? Somebody was born today, and somebody transitioned here today somewhere. And it's just like every day is somebody's birthday. You hear me? It's a whole lot going on at the same time that if you unaware, you're just not aware that all these things are going on just for us to exist. You heard? But stay on this healing journey. I just wanted to share some things, you know, that's of importance, you know, and things that we need to be in remembrance of, you know, and how life, regardless of what happens, is here to help us heal. Because we wouldn't be here if we ain't had some healing to do. You heard? And we need to have our mental in the right space. You know, we need to have our thoughts in the right space. And whatever right is for you may be different than what right is for me. You know, but it's about what the message is saying. You hear me? Not that the message is telling us to do anything. You know, because I can't be your physician. We here to be our own physician. You heard? And healing is not always about feeling good. You hear me? Healing is not always a feel-good process, but we learn to feel good about it as we go along. You heard? We learn to feel better about ourselves as we go through it. Better yet, but one thing for sure, this is not a path for cowards. So I appreciate the family and soul tribe. You hear me? That walk through these realms in these places within ourselves. You know, that we travel through the direction of the messages that flow through me. You hear me? This path is definitely not for cowards. And, you know, especially afraid of their own shadows. So we're going to walk through the valley of the shadows of death and resurrect ourselves, resurrect our golden child. You hear me? And we can have fun through it just as well as anybody who's doing shadow work, self-improvement, self-development, self-awareness, recorrecting, you know, rewiring their self-esteem, acquiring self-discipline, and planting the proper seeds to self-inspire and self-motivate. You know, you can't take no off time. You got to do it every day. You got to be on yourself every day. You got to constantly keep yourself under the microscope. And it's not an easy task. I'm not here to make nobody think it's an easy task. It's a consistent, constant work. You hear me? And it's not supposed to make you want to do it every day. So if you're doing it every day, I salute you, cause shadow work it don't make you once you get in certain realms and you start have to face certain things about yourself, it ain't something you want to do every day. And only those who wise enough to know better know they got to keep on doing it. You hear me? You can't turn back now, as I started out with. You heard? You ain't crazy, just keep waking up. That concludes the message for today. I just wanted to come through and say a few things. The emoji for the day is gonna be I just came to drop a pill. So put a pill, a vitamin. If they got a vitamin, this is my sea moss. You got a vitamin, put a vitamin pill or something. Red pill, blue pill, whatever side of pill, the other pill you want. Put a gold pill that they can have one. I just came to this, share some messages and keep us inspired, keep us motivated, and the point to a direction, you know, that only you could take, and that's the direction of yourself. Stillness and abundance, love, and light, health, and wholeness. Thanks to the family and soul tribe. Thanks to the new subscribers. Thanks to the peekaboos and passerbys. Thanks for those who like, share the message. Thanks for those who offer donations. Thanks for those who make purchases with me. Thanks for those who do what you do, so I can do what I do and we do it together. You hear me? As I said before, watch the video, place the vitamin pill or whatever, some kind of pill. You hear me? You let me know where you at in the matrix in the comment section. Feel good for no reason at all, because feeling good is feeling God. Though God is just a title, it describes our divinity. My name is Sawu. I love y'all.